Kita bikin ini nyantai-nyantai aja ya guys ya. Gak usah ya apa itu game-game ya kasual-kasual santai-santai aja. Gak usah yang terlalu kompe apalah itu ya. Kita main game santai aja. Nyantai aja, nyantai-nyantai. Game santai-santai aja. Genshin, mancing atau apa. Jadi pengen main Fishing Planet kan aku kan. Udah kita main Fishing Planet aja kali ya. Kan judulnya kan weekend santai ya kan. Jadi ya bisa sih. Apa itu? Kita main hmm, kita main game santai aja. Game casual santai. Kenapa tapi? Main apa? Mancing ya kan. Tada. Juga macet ya video capture-nya ya. Ah, pakai game capture baru bisa dia. Kita main game-game santai kayak gini ya. Kasih anda yang hah? Oh iya aku sudah premium kemarin ya. Real game santuy. Jadi tinggal ngapa-ngapa nih tidur lah apalah. Aku potong-potong rambut nih kayaknya nih. Gondrong banget. Iya, besok potong rambut deh. Senin kali ya potong rambut ya. Potong rambut Israel kah ini? Potong rambutnya kita guys besok atau lusa. Potong nggak ya? Aku tuh pengen mancing Siberian Taiman tapi mahal tiketnya ke sananya. Mancing Siberian ya mahal. Masa main Genshin lagi nulis story? Wah nanti jam 4 juga mau pergi ya. Kelingging kita berjanji, jari manis jadi saksi. Ya kita main Genshin aja. Kita lanjutin story yang kemarin. Kita mau main Genshin. Mana ya? Kita lanjutin story kemarin ya. Ya cepet selesai nih konten.
We're here! Paimon's hungry. Hey, quick! Look!
That's
That's the limited edition only 16 slices a day cake! It was so delicious the last...
One slice of cake, please.
Someone showed up after all! Oh, wait, you're the one from the Palais Mermonia.
Oh, are you here to buy cake too?
Wait, did he really say...
That's right. Even he has...
Do you come here often?
Usually every day.
Every day?
It's part of my daily schedule, apart from work.
Then what if someone told you?
But why would it?
Well, Paimon doesn't know either, but
Oh, the prophecy. No, it's this.
huh?
Don't be sad. Excuse me, could I have 2 more slices of cake to go? These 2 slices are for you. Sijuin's.
Oh, you know Siege.
I sure do. She said that human. I've got something else to do, so I'll be going.
And there she goes. All right, let's dig in. Paimon. It's more delicious. Sure would be nice if we could always eat delicious. Oh, we're near the Steambird office. Let's go look for Charlotte and have a chat.
Oh, harus misi juga.
Wow!
Cuma gitu
If it
doang,
isn't the
ngobrol doang.
Traveler and Paimon! Ha! You've got some nerve! You just used us to make some quick Mora!
Oh, you needn't worry about that. I heard it's all right though.
Really? Well, Paimon...
Still, what bring?
A friend of ours...
Ah, so she mentioned.
She said that you're...
Nice. In which case, can this daredevil journalist dare to request an exclusive interview with the legendary traveler?
Huh?
Oh, of course it doesn't. That was.
Yeah.
Why not? If I say you're worth an interview, then you're.
Oh.
Oh, so that's a yes? Ooh, splendid! Ooh, so much.
Wait, Charlotte. Paimon's still got a question for you.
And what's that?
If, just for example, Fontaine were to be flooded tomorrow, what would you do today?
Huh. That's the prophecy you're talking about, isn't it? I mean, I do. If you're serious, from what I've seen, so in all likelihood, I'd
Ya, bos
probably
stream
still
TikTok
be prepping at the
YouTube sama
office
kayak
for that interview
kemarin.
of ours. Just think about it. If this Nick, and then do you know what I'd do? Well, I'd write that. I'm not a dreamer, but anyway,
That's so... Anyway, let's go and take a look at the sea, shall we? The sea breeze and scenery can be a pretty... Paimon's been thinking... If it wasn't fun... No, but... We've always been moving to the next... You mean... Still Huh. Feels like he'll grow, but it's still better.
Ah, so the 2 of you are still here.
Oh, Oh, you're from the palace?
Yes, I'm Isadora. Not at all. Yes, and
A riot?
well, that Lady Farina loudly accused, and before she could, the crowd continued to.
So people have...
I agree.
So what happened after...
Seeing that the situation was spiraling out of control, the Marechaussee Phantom had their hand.
So...
That's right. The Marechaussee has dispatched. That said, I don't think there's much good.
Don't worry. This...
Is that...
Well, sounds like we should hurry over to Poisson then. If we know Farine, and as we... When Nervalab... It would be hard... Paimon thinks... Huh! Well, what do you think? In that case...
Halo guys yang di TikTok, halo semua, halo Dani, halo orang biasa.
This place looks deserted. Guess I'll...
Gatot main gacha ya? Gacha nggak?
Could Farina really be here? Let's try to find her as soon as possible.
Ibu Dina, apa sendirian? Amerika, halo.
That's Farina, right over there.
Should I just give up? This is all meaningless. What was meant to happen did happen after all. Everyone's dead. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Give up, Farina. I'm sorry, but what can I even do? Who's that?
Don't worry, Farina, it's just us. Farina, you were crying just now, weren't you?
What do you mean, tear stains? Who did that uncivilized? They even dare. Oh, and I'm sure Nivelette and those people from the marsh.
Hey, there she is! The Hydro Archon's over there! Quick, after her!
Farina, those people seem to be after you.
They are? They're just... That's against the rule.
Farina just ran off! Quick, we have to catch up!
Ibu Dina dikejar apa?
This should be the place, right? Hey, Farina! There's a good hiding spot over here!
What?
Hurry, they're almost here!
Fine. I suppose haste. No, I mean, I merely gave in to the
Yep, that's a...
what's happening?
Yeah, a quake of this kind preceded the flooding in Poisson, didn't it?
It can't be.
Well, there's no need to worry too much about that. Neverlette's made some emergency...
Yeah, but the people of Poisson, they've already... It's true. I once had informants all over Tevat, searching for clues and feeding information back. I've tried all kinds of ways, but all my efforts proved to be futile. We cannot make an enemy of the divine. Give up. Indeed. Fate. But just now, it all became... As long as the final moment hasn't come, don't worry.
Furina,
That's
kenapa?
enough for now. Don't take any of what.
Come on! Paimon could have sworn.
Share. That's impossible. It was a witness. And if to that. I.
Ini?
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my opening performance. Now, without further ado, we may proceed.
So, this is what it is. Yes, you deserve Do not forget, however, that I am Fosilo.
May I interpret these words as your refusal to stand trial? In that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through a duel.
You would draw your blade against a god? I see. It seems like you have made up your mind.
Paimon can't believe it.
What the heck is going on? Did I just see?
Wow. How
Lady Furina, what is?
Shh! It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding. To be
Looking for excuses again.
I raised my hands just now to indicate my acceptance of the trial. No duel shall be necessary. I will admit that I'm sorry, everyone. I was unable to protect. You are not the only ones to be disappointed in me. I, too, am exceedingly disappointed in my... But now, it is time for the Hydro Archon to show you her I, Furina, will use this trial to show the world that this time, I will protect you. Applaud and rejoice. One of the most, mark my words, this shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of Fontaine. The trial of the Hydro Archon. Woohoo!
Oh, now we're making it.
Why does it feel like Furina just took over the whole thing? Also, even though she's still acting super dramatic.
All right, then. Who will...
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Is that so?
Traveler lawan Furina kah?
Also, please allow me to ask, as a final question, just how much work did you...
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were rather straightforward and easy.
Navia, the president of the Spina di Rosula.
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates. They changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience members, waiting for the perfect opportunity to incite insurrection against you. The people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and more of the prophecy is fulfilled. A spark was all we needed to turn smoldering anger. Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, when something like that occurred, so we arranged for a second group to lie in wait there.
So, you mean... the ones who scoured the settlement for me were also...
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may personally participate in the greatest magic performance in all of...
That's right.
That house was a magic box, rather than someone's residence.
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first
Coba
performed at the
biar
Opera
mau
Epic,
sidang
the
si
volume of the
Burinanya.
box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson was an Archon instead of a human. My thanks, Farina. Without your help, we could never have pulled off such an extraordinary
You're welcome.
Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor in Mora to pull this off. We had to select a location, construct the giant magic box, dig a tunnel, and open up a path through the water. It was a lot.
So, in other words, the earthquake that we felt with.
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Then, I can guess Nervilette and Chloe. You gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that the champion duelist would be immediately ready. Also, that as soon as I appeared on the stage.
Yes, that is correct.
Well, Clorand, I must commend you for your courage. Only the most outstanding champion.
Thank you.
As for you, Traveler, I suppose your role was to keep. You'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived on. Oh? It's fine.
Buat
It
ngasih
matters
si
the stage
rahasianya
is
ya.
already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through to the very.
Sir Prosecutor, please allow me to pass this along. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received permission to share with you during the trial. According to her, it should...
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too! Hey, Charlotte! Oh, Leb Hymancy!
Jadi dia jangan lupa tetap follow, share.
Wait. Then, so in other words, we can refer to... Let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, alright?
You defeated the Hydro Archon in the very first duels you took part in at the Opera House. That's one for the I didn't think that you'd wind up getting to the... This is the first time Monsieur a Fatui Harbin, the Fortress of Mer... According to Monsieur Nervilette, both I nearly lost my awesome... The words of someone as extraordinary as a witch can pop...
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on, Nervilette. There's no need to repeat all the unimportant legalese. Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. As the defendant and the lead actress of this performance, of course, it is only natural.
That's true. But my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon. Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the first place.
Wait, what was that? Lady Farina's a fraud?
Fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon for forsaking her duty, but did I...
Charge accepted. Lady Farina, do you plead guilty? Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. How can I be guilty? There is no way that I, Fauchelor, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, could be anything other than your true Archon.
Yeah, even though Lady Farina can be rather eccentric.
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either. Sure, Lady Farina can be...
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since they were born. There would be no fooling their See? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me its favor. Are you sure you want to commit to a charge that, if you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the God of Justice that you will not have to face trial for making a false accusation. We will treat everything that's happened as a dramatic spectacle and move on with all...
An argument with near impossible odds.
Well, I tried to give you the chance to surrender. If you must persist, then let me ask. And if I was not the Archon, then how did I manage to live for over 500 years?
Gak relevan, gak relevan.
That doesn't sound...
Ini.
First of all, you...
Who gave you that idea?
A curse. I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might naturally resemble a type of curse. But in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity, but a curse after all.
Never had sensed it too, huh?
Lady Farina is actually a human?
Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult to tell humans and gods apart just by...
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even if I have been carrying a curse like you said. Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession. For centuries, manifestations of my authority have served. One need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this very opera house. Or...
That doesn't sound right.
Kali.
You tried to reference the Oratrice, but weren't you as
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decision...
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder of your current circumstances is in order. While the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law must come before all else. While you are an Archon, you are also first and foremost the defense. You will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges if...
I never thought you'd use that kind of rhetoric.
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Farina.
Mulai seru nih, mulai
I've
seru
merely
nih, mulai seru
reiterated the
segini
rules
nih.
of the court.
Jangan
Rules that
on cam,
all
jelek
should
muka aku.
respect and follow.
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty, nor did you understand the structure. Instead of having been created by you, the manifestations of authority you mentioned have been made by the real Hydro Archon, haven't they?
The real Hydro Archon. Well, it is true that I did not know, but the Oratrice handed out that verdict You can't...
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses.
My power at...
If that poses a concern, I'm prepared to extend my protection to the audience.
You don't need...
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you can't...
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide everyone with...
Isn't that a huge stretch?
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power?
It seems like nobody's buying Farina's excuse.
Hey, come now, everyone! Name Farina you knew, right? The one that you loved! Please? You've got to believe me!
If what the prosecutor said is true, she really has committed a great...
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and grandparents too? And then all of our ancestors?
Enough! That's enough! Tell me then, if I'm not the real Hydro Archon, then who is? If you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence...
Wow, she came up with yet another argument. That doesn't...
Yang mana? Ini kah?
It has been established that all Fontanians can dissolve in water from...
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here and now to eliminate all suspicions of you being the latter.
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court. Though you act in partnership with the prosecutor, you must still adhere to proper procedure.
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. I swear this really will be the last time that I'll speak out of turn. Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, a massive flood struck the area not long ago, taking many lives, including those of some of my closest friends. So, Miss Farina, would you dare to touch some of this seawater? If we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, touching this seawater would have no effect on you. All it should do is strengthen your case. But if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more people dissolve. I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler path of admitting guilt.
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has governed Poisson for many years. I guess her suggestion is valid.
If Lady Farina is indeed just a human, she's probably Fontanian like all the rest of us. Would she really dare to try?
Lady Farina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution.
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to participate is basically the same as...
She's just staring at the water without saying a single word.
What's going on? Is she really planning to... that's not what we thought she...
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady...
What?
Hey!
I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! Will you believe me now? I really am your Archon!
Miss Siegewin? If you're present, Miss Siegewin, please come forward and attend to the defendant.
Siegewin?
Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few seconds. That should be enough.
Please announce the results of your evaluation to the court, Miss Siegewin.
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Farina was displaying symptoms of hyperventilation. She was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was affected is the same as...
Thank you, Miss Siegewin. Lady Farina, you may
Oh, wait. What did she just say? I didn't get dissolved. Shouldn't that be enough to prove...
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, we did originally prepare a direct sample of the seawater around Poisson. However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve an actual human. After all, on the off chance that something entirely unexpected might occur, we don't want anyone else to lose their life to the sea.
Yeah, so out of regard for Farina's life, you secured a low-concentration sample and asked... It's a great thing that the direct sample...
I can't believe... You... Listen to me, everyone! Please don't give me such cold and think about it! How can you conclusively prove that also, if I was really just a human, why would I dare to just...
Udah gak percaya.
Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me! I swear, I really am your Archon!
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone.
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think there's any way left for Farina.
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway people who's too stacked against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Farina is guilty.
Aduh.
We shall now turn to the oratrice mécanique d'analyse
Ya ini titik vokal di ini ya, di eksekusi ya.
According to the judgment of the oratrice mécanique d'analyse cardinale, Farina is...
Well, what's wrong? What's the oratrice's verdict?
No, the oratrice also displayed...
Isn't that correct then?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus. The Hydro Archon, guilty to be punished via the death sentence.
The death?
That's actually one of the available sentences?
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court. And it's been given to the very
Farina's been sentenced to death by the oratrice? We just wanted to use the...
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's current definitions of justice, as well as is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have...
Yeah! Even Vacher wasn't sentenced...
Indeed. Not only is Farina's sentence overly excessive, very poor, but now, the oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the type...
Excuse me, if I may interrupt. Is the trial still going?
Fremine! You finally made it.
Mm-hmm. Any mission, Father is...
Is that the first prophecy slate?
Ketemu nih.
Huh. So the knave privately...
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. But has the trial already concluded?
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other...
Huh? So what do you see? What is...
I believe I've now made sense of the
Huh? Isn't a so when you say Hydro Archon...
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up... However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense...
Okay, let's try to... The first stone slate describes what you just said. It seems... Does that mean that Fontainians are transformed Oceanids? The second stone slate shows select... This must be the point when the Hydro Archon and the Fontainians were branded. The third slate shows the Hydro... That reminds Paimon... Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy the Fontainians have been talking about. We didn't believe that such a crazy disaster could happen at first.
We know, and this... Perhaps the true sin of... and the It's
not when not the
Bentar guys, AFK bentar, kamar mandi. Loh, kembali lagi. Ah?
The prophecy from the stone slates, the fort, if we...
Hukuman mati nggak
They'll
tuh?
dissolve into the primordial sea but won't cease to exist. The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present. Perhaps this means that her sin was actually Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. She was surrounded by the people of Poisson in a court within her consciousness. The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meripede was the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass no matter what. The stone slate's contents can all be verified by recent events. Huh? Oh, Paimon gets it now! So that's how you can... But then it feels like we're going to have to share some truly shocking revelations.
Let's hear them.
Incredible. Linny, did you hear that?
We're not real humans.
All Fontanians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon, with Oceanids as their basis. The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontanians could dissolve in primordial seawater, and how all the girls Vacher dissolved were also turned into Oceanids. Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also saw everyone gathered around for a trial, all of them in the shape of Oceanids.
Indeed.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate that she probably anchored Celestia by creating humans without prior permission. That could also explain why the Oratrice judged the Hydro Archon to be guilty. It's to account for that ancient sin.
The Hydro Archon's true sin was creating us?
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the...
Yeah, isn't the image here just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once the prophecy has been fulfilled in the fourth slate? In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away. Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, it is impressive that you've already managed to connect so many pieces of the truth. However, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, they've also been etched with an additional layer of hidden information using a different power source. When we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden information recorded in the slates. But since we only had 3 slates at the time, I was unable to come to a full conclusion. Now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another attempt to decipher the narrative recorded within. If everything goes well, we should finally be informed of the unadulterated truth.
Well?
I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fontaine as well. I will try to briefly summarize it for you. Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontanians and the sin of the Hydro Archon were both correct. In the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon their desire to become of a similar kind. However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro Archon, as one of the 7, did not possess the authority to create a new form of human life. Not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars by appropriating the power of this planet's primordial sea. She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanid's blood vessels, creating humanoid mimics in the process. But if Fontanians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power within their bodies would escape these artificial restraints and return to the sea. As a result, their forms would collapse, and they would be reverted to their original forms as Oceanids. Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race. And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how the people of Fontaine first came into being.
So we were all Oceanids before we turned into human beings?
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm just going to pretend that I never heard a single thing. Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death. After all, her only sin was creating us.
This really might be too much information for your regular Fontanian, but it does answer a lot of our questions.
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was inaccurate. The slates' respective positions are, in fact, correct. A key point of the visual on the third
Ini
slate
semua
is how
gara-gara
all the
Egeria
individuals
gak jadinya
depicted in
Vakalar
the water
mati.
are
Kalau Vakalar
humans rather than
berarti mungkin
Oceanids. They
Burina
have
masih
not
bisa
been
jadi Archon
dissolved,
ya. Aduh,
which
Burina
implies that the water,
kasihan,
the nation of
ibuku.
Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of trials and justice. Instead of being the literal element, the water in the scenes, you may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, her consciousness was surrounded by that of many others who intended to hold a trial to determine her fate. Therefore, the meaning of the third slate is that the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Archon at the court of justice. Yes, it refers to our
I think I'm following now. So, what you're saying is, in truth, everything we've done has happened exactly as the prophecy for—
What should we do?
Huh. No matter what,
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the fourth slate will also be—
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy in your deductions about the fourth slate. You probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fortress of Meripede served as the shore. However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, that eruption could in fact only be a small warning. As for the root cause of the catastrophe, this eruption was just a small warning of the things to come.
It was both dream.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be—
The truth, the original sin, the trial, and the root cause of the disaster.
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why it is chosen to make an appearance. That whale does not belong to Tevat. It is a monster that has traversed the stars, weeping all the while. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, using it to grow. That is the main cause for the rising sea levels. And once it has finished consuming all of the energy contained within the sea, its next step will be...
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontanians out of Oceanids, she filled their blood vessels with primordial seawater.
Precisely. That whale finds the... Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop a packed opera house full of food. Food in the form of Fontanians.
We just barely managed to push it back, right? In that case, won't it come back to target the...
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time. Without him, the whale would have likely come onto land. From the way he looked, he must have been fighting the creature for quite a long time.
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection with that whale, but we definitely didn't expect it to help us out. Anyway, now that we know that this whale is the actual cause of the disaster record...
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before we could notice it. At this, even if the entirety of Tevat were to be destroyed, it could still survive and swim off towards some other...
That's not something I will accept. We've already done everything we can, and we've come so far.
Indeed. That's not how a grand
I'll fight it to the end.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophet...
Yang ngomong Vokalor ini.
Just as prophecies are usually only the... Ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen in Tevat's future.
What's happening with the oratories?
Nih, mau ketemu Vokalor.
It is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Farina! No, I still need answers.
You...
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is just too amusing. I couldn't help myself.
You are not Farina. Who are you?
Ah, the sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that my attempt to deceive everyone was a resounding success. But to answer your question, I am Focalor. You know, the god.
Focalor? Why did you deceive us?
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. But I had to fool everyone else too, if I was to stand any chance of deceiving the heavenly principles.
Deceiving the heavenly principles?
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. Fontaine condemned to be flooded. One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused when that problem was thrust upon me by my dearest predecessor. That's the former Hydro Archon Egeria for the uninitiated. It hardly gets more disastrous than a preordained national catastrophe, now does it? She knew full well that the prophecy would surely come to pass.
Nggak kuat guys.
And
Udah sampai
as
sini
one
guys,
of the
sumpah.
seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavenly principles at one's peril. So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather impossible situation that I found myself in. I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I was almost growing barnacles by the time I finally realized there was only one possible solution to this confounding conundrum. I had to outwit the heavenly principles, allow the prophecy to be fulfilled, ostensibly at least, while saving everyone at the same time. I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume that's why Egeria chose me as her successor. Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. Between the task of saving the nation, the quotidian duties of the Hydro Archon, and not to mention the original sin of creating a new race of humans, I dare say she left me quite a colossal mess to clean up. But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I chose to be one of her Oceanid familiars.
So you were also once one of the Oceanids, transformed into a human by Egeria's hand.
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. In my eyes, to be human is to be part of the greatest opera ever known. After becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered as my past self on her first day as a human being. The me you see before you now is that divinity. And the human counterpart I left behind, I named Farina. She could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She could be as vain and conceited, or as meek and vulnerable as she wished. Her strengths were of a kind only a human could possess, as were her shortcomings. But in my eyes, Farina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human in every way. The person I always wanted to be. Anyway, so then I cursed her. All part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive the heavenly principles. Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? The Hydra Archon alone, weeping on her throne. In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited Farina to be an actress, to play the part of the Hydro Archon in the prophecy. Under the curse I placed on her, so long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she free to live her life in the pursuit of happiness. Instead, she was forced to take the stage in the opera house, to embrace the role of leading lady, to forever play the part of the god from the prophecy, all to create a deceitful appearance of that prophecy coming to pass. I suppose now you probably understand why your court is called the Opera Epiclese.
But Farina is only human, isn't she? Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that of any other ordinary human being. I cannot begin to fathom what she has had to endure. It must have been torture for her.
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human form, I most definitely owe her an apology for it. It's been 500 years, and all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely, and agonizingly painful opera of all time.
Loh, Purina. Enggak, Arthur ketemu Arthur nih. Asik nih.
Oh? Who permitted you to come onto the stage? Now, I understand. All right. It is not my intent to reprimand you. There is no need to state your name. Just be off with you. Do not... Oh, do not jest. Can you not feel it? I am Focalor. The eyes of countless Fontanians are upon me. I must, at all times, display the utmost elegance and nobility. Dear audience, the performance is experiencing a technical difficulty, but worry not. The guard shall resolve it soon enough.
There is no...
Hey, what gives? The audience is still watching me, you know. Guards! Wait, where are the guards? Guards!
Absurd!
On the rocks!
There is no escape!
Apip. Apip. Halo, Pip. Emang Purna selucu ini ya, gemes. Ih, jalannya anggun banget. Jadi Purina hitam. Tuh dulu.
Farina.
Huh? Who's that? Who's calling me? Where are you?
Be not nervous. Be not afraid. I am before you.
Wait a moment. You're... mirror me? How can this be?
Mirror you, huh? You know what? That's not bad. Let's go with that.
Mirror me? What do you wish to say?
The prophecy. Have you heard of it?
What prophecy? Wait. I know. I think... I don't know why, but it's
Kebalikannya ya matanya ya.
in my head somehow. The people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain, weeping on her throne. Only then will the
Untuk karena
sins
efek
of the
kaca.
people
Enggak
of
ding.
Fontaine be washed
Bagian
away.
sungu itu jambulnya juga.
Very
Apa gara-gara
good.
kaca?
You know it well.
Atau ding?
What's
Bingung.
going on? I can't seem to remember anything clearly. The only thing I know for sure is this prophecy. Will it really come to pass?
Yes, it will. And that is why I've come to you. Disaster will come to Fontaine sooner or later. Things will develop just as the prophecy declared. There is no escaping it.
But doesn't that mean everyone will die? I'm a Fontainian just like them. Will I dissolve too?
Oh, don't worry. Magical meetings exist in this world precisely to give people a chance to turn things around. It is the reason why you met me today. I will tell you how to save everyone, but you may have to suffer somewhat.
Oh, so there's still hope after all. goodness, you frightened me. You spoke so much and with so much certainty. As for the suffering, well, I will admit that the first thing that came to mind was, why do I have to be the one to suffer? But if the prophecy will come true, I'll also die anyway, right? So if I've already met you as my magical meeting in this world, if there were scales, with all the people of Fontaine on one side and my pain on the other, is it not obvious where the scales should tilt?
You truly are the perfect human, my ideal. I suppose this would also be the justice that belongs to you.
Huh?
Don't worry, it's nothing. Listen well. Fontaine has just lost its Hydro Archon. I need you to play a role, that of the new Archon.
Play as a god?
That's right. You must begin a never-ending masquerade. You must never let anyone suspect your identity. If you can keep it up, then I shall have my way of defying this prophecy. But should your identity be revealed, then all hope will be lost.
But how will I do this? A human assuming the role of a god without being exposed?
Don't worry. What you must do is not to turn yourself into a real god. You simply need to play the role of a god as humans imagine them to be. Being a human yourself, I'm sure you already know what such an entity would be like. Remember, your true challenge will not be pursuing divinity, but contending against humanity.
I'm still not sure I understand, but I'll try. I'll try to do this. So, how long am I going to have to play this role?
To accomplish this mission, you will have to stay on the stage for many, many years. You will endure and not grow old until your task ends. But I promise you, all will eventually end in a magnificent and dramatic trial, and everyone will be saved.
A trial, huh? How exciting. I'll be looking forward to it.
Ceritanya begitu. Jadi Furina ini manusia biasa yang diciptakan sama Vokalor untuk berperan sebagai dewa.
The Maison Cardinalise has announced my accession, but this is my first time facing the people. What should I say to most appear like a god? To be honest, I still don't know. Perhaps I should first try to act natural. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and welcome to the Opera Epiclese. I'm sure you've all heard about how I have taken on the role of Hydro Archon. Indeed, I am Verena de Fontaine, your new Arch. In truth, I know little about becoming a nation's new god, but it will be as the god Focalor, the god of justice. I shall do once again. Thank you all for coming. If you this should do it. I thought I might stammer, but thankfully, I was able to convey.
That's the new Hydro Archon. Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses humanity would be a bit more...
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her suggestions there at the end.
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest.
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen.
Wait, what's going on? Right. Mirror me, calm down, Farina. Think. Assertive, with a strong sense of presence. One... Oh, now, I was wondering if some weak puppet were to... Well, you may consider my... Now then, let's...
Ah, so that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were inside an opera house?
Her personality. It's quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before.
Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful! Her future may yet be bright after all.
It seems I've turned them around. Best, my dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, keep faith in your ardor. We have heard it said that this nation's... No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want me to play. No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want. The scales of just may law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our worship. There is no trouble. So long as I, the Archon Focalor, stand within the Opera Epiclese. So long as...
Yes! Oh, yeah!
Lady Farina, here are today's case reports as well as a sum.
Come now. Besides, none of these trials...
If I may be so impertinent...
A magnificent, dramatic, and wondrous...
That's true, I fear I lack the ability to...
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now, do your duties. The trial I await...
Makanya Vocalor jarang, Brina jarang lihat kekuatannya ya.
Lady Farina, I don't know what to...
No need to... All right. Deoteria, is it? How...
You remembered me. He's doing much better now. You're...
Lady Farina, you're...
I see. It's as I thought then. As your god, I did already expect this, but I wanted to see how far your human wisdom would allow you to analyze it. All manner of signs indicate that the prophecy will still come to pass. Forget it. That's not something you need to worry about right now.
Well, as I understand it, the Fontaine Research Institute is also trying to find a way to counter the rising water levels.
Really? Have they found anything?
I'm afraid that they haven't...
The day is finally over. But it's good to see that everything's getting on track. Maybe this is fine. All right.
Lady Farina, here are the new...
There'll be no...
Lady Farina, I've...
Indeed, my dear.
Lady Farina, we're detecting significant hydrological...
Understood. Keep monitoring. I feel utterly...
Lady Farina, it's like a dream being able to speak with you up close like this. I've heard that the first member of our family who was honored to receive an audience with you was Madame Deoteria, almost 20 generations ago.
And what a fine family yours is indeed. It brings me great joy to meet such a faithful believer, a descendant of a line most ardent.
Surely you exaggerate, Lady Farina. My lady?
What is it, good citizen?
Are you crying?
Uh-huh. Oh, really now? I didn't even notice. This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't quite help being the
No wonder.
So interminable. So lonely. Just how much longer? Hundreds of years must have passed by now. Perhaps the show must go on for hundreds more. I never imagined that it would hurt so much. Have I reached my limit?
Dia itu cuma pemain opera biasa, nggak sampai jadi Archon itu loh.
Perhaps I reached what I want to tell someone. Anyway, I've conducted. All I can do is keep heart. I must.
Farina, you don't have to shoulder this burden alone. Although I don't know what you might be keeping from everyone. Your people are more than willing to share your burden with you.
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my...
But even if your burden doesn't need to be shared, you can still choose just share it with me. I'm what you'd
A witness. Yes, I've heard that you came to Tevat from... And if Tevat is, in its entirety, a show on a stage... If that... He's right. I could confide in him, couldn't I? But if things don't play out as expected, the people... No, Farina. You shouldn't be selfish. But what if it's Farina? You've worked so hard for so long. Surely it would be okay to put yourself first for once. Is it such an outrageous thing to do anyway? To find if you let this opportunity slip through your fingers, it might never come up. Think about it. Long and hard. No, I have nothing to say. I am Farina. All you need to do, dear spectator, is to witness my performance until the...
Fine.
So even Farina doesn't know the truth? You've never once let her in on the full plan?
Yes, it had to be done. To deceive the heavenly principles, you must first deceive yourself. She did very well. If she had let her resolve falter even once in these 5 centuries, Fontaine would have been doomed to the most tragic fate. It seems that trusting humanity was the right decision after all.
I believe that I understand how your deception works, but that is only half the truth, is it not? How would you build on this foundation to save the people of Fontaine? That is the most important thing.
Ah, good, good. Of course, the Iudex of Fontaine has pinpointed the crux of the issue. I'm sure you've long sensed that the Oratrice is no simple machine, yes?
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness, and Linny did mention that he heard a human voice within the core chamber. It now seems that that person was you, hidden within the machine all along. Am I right?
And then I became one with the Oratrice, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes, it would seem so, wouldn't it? Alas, your understanding of this device still lacks sufficient depth. In truth, it is no enactor of justice. It is, in fact, a device created to kill the god of justice.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, you have it. And to be more precise, not only will the Oratrice take down the god of justice, it will also take down the divine throne upon which she has been placed. I mean, did you think I would be the sort to enjoy peaceful repose while Farina suffered? My work over these last 500 years has been to constantly accumulate indemnitium within the Oratrice.
Hello, Chris.
But really, some have already discovered that only a small fraction of the energy generated by the device was ever used to provide power to Fontaine. The vast majority had to be, accumulated to enact this death sentence.
It was all a part of your plan then? Both the trial and the sentence?
Indeed. This power, accrued over 5 centuries, could have sustained Fontainians for millennia had it only been used for that purpose. Almost all of it has now been stored within the Oratrice. But only power of this magnitude could hope to destroy the Hydro Archon's divine throne, shaking the rules established by Celestia and breaking through the institution that is the Seven.
So the Oratrice's call for death was for neither Farina nor Focalor, but for the Hydro Archon. The destruction of that divine throne. If I do not misunderstand your intent, you must be...
Returning what's rightfully yours to you, of course. In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the Hydro Archon to the Hydro Dragon of this planet.
Dispose all the to return menggulingkan otoritas dari Archon Hydro ke Naga Hydro dari planet ini. Berarti mungkin aja di Archon.
Oh, what? Getting sad again, are we? The authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more, O Hydro Dragon Sovereign. And this is the face you make.
All you've done throughout the years is just so you can
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now... Hydro Dragon, don't cry.
Gemes. Pas udah ngomong aja don't cry.
I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the heavenly principles themselves. Were they not guilty of essentially the same crime? Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea, and the heavenly principles stole the power you ancient dragons possessed. I, for my part, am the god of justice. And is it not just that your original powers should be returned to you? Speaking of justice, I have always believed that justice lies in the process of pursuing human existence itself. So, if the theft of the primordial sea's might was Fontaine's original sin, then, leaving matters of procedural right and wrong aside, the descent of the Fontanians as humans and their right to exist in this world would be Fontaine's original justice. In other words, existence was Egeria's justice, and to me, justice is the continuation of that existence. Defying the prophecy and ensuring that Fontaine's people shall live on, that should be the justice enthroned over all others. At this point, we, whether it be myself or all other Fontanians, have shouldered the burden of this sin for far too long. Iudex Neuvillette, the highest judge in our land, when you regain your full power as an elemental sovereign, what verdict shall you pass upon us?
So when I was invited to the court of Fontaine to serve as Iudex, I see now that that was your idea too. At last, I now understand the true purpose behind this position. In the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living alongside them have gradually brought about mutual understanding between us. And I have even attempted to feel as they feel. You are a devious one, Focalors. Things being as they are, surely you know that I could never declare them to be guilty.
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound it, but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common.
Eksekusinya Focalors.
Farewell, Neuvillette. I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
Luvila jadi Archon kah ini berarti artinya?
I, Iudex Nuvelet, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
What just happened? Has the death sentence been carried out?
Was that bright light some sort of misdirection? I have a feeling that something huge just happened.
But since we're all still alive and haven't been dissolved, I assume whatever happened was good for us.
It's time to end this. We must mete out punishment to that beast.
Didn't you say just a moment ago that it can't be defeated?
I have gained the strength sufficient to deal with it. Through certain means, I now have the ability to separate the power of the Primordial Sea from that creature. We should seize the opportunity to pursue our quarry. Traveler, now that the oratories can no longer function, I require an executor to help me mete out justice. The root of the calamities befalling Fontaine, the beast that enacts the prophecy. Its name is the all-devouring Narwhal. Come with me, traveler.
Lawan Narwhal kah ini?
Considering the size of the beast, I cannot reach the power source. Unless we can find a way to attack it from within. I shall share a part of the ancient dragon's power with you. We shall look for an opening together.
Illusion shattered!
Sorrow turning into hostility.
There is no escape!
The all-devouring narwhal cannot resist its instinct to devour. Continue to trigger its hostility. Present itself. Seize the moment. Use my power to wrest its root from within.
Gather! This is order!
Illusion shattered!
celestialnya atau narwalnya.
Thanks for helping with the cleanup. It should have been my job, but oh well. It was just supposed to be a short private training session for me. I didn't think that my disciple and my master's pet would start brawling in the meantime. Well, actually, I had a feeling that it would.
That power. Who are you exactly?
Paimon has an idea. From what she said earlier, she must be Child's master. Skirk, right? It's just that he gave us the impression that she was, less...
I simply did not have anything to say to the weak. But so you may speak to me as equals. I have to agree. That kind of power is wasted on it. All in all.
Miss Skirk?
The point.
Well, being that this pet almost destroyed an entire... So what sort of person is your master? Well, Child...
Oh, right. So you don't know him. Sorry, I assumed you did. His name is Sertologi.
Huh?
I am unfamiliar with that name.
Huh. So Master isn't sufficiently famous. How should I describe him then? Have you heard of the name The Fowl?
The Fowl?
Still nothing? Well, how about the Visionary? Vetterfalnir then? Or Gold Rhindaughter?
Ooh, that one we've heard! Rhindaughter's part of the Hexen Circle. She's Albedo's mom, right?
Oh, so you do know that name. To be honest, I also heard all of those, but I suppose you understand now, yes? My master is likely a similar sort to Rhindaughter.
Wait! Didn't you also mention a visionary person?
Actually, never mind that. I believe that the all-devouring narwhal used up nearly all its strength fighting you. Such roiling hydro energies will prove difficult for the planet's deep seas to digest. As such, the fontaine back on the surface has most likely been thrown into chaos. In other words, the prophecy that you've been fretting over should now be in full swing.
What?
Not to worry. Focalor has already managed to deceive the heavenly principles.
In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only Farina will remain, weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
Hey! Help! Over here!
Konten tenggelam. Kira nggak akan tenggelam, nggak jadi. Oh, tenggelamnya gara-gara ketukannya Vokalor juga ya berarti ya. Kapalnya si Wiryo ya. Konten kah? Oh, Wiryo. Seriously.
All hands initiate emergency rescue!
Hurry!
Hey, lend a hand!
The water's receding!
It's a miracle!
Water's receding.
We
Jadi
didn't
tenggelam.
dissolve. The prophecy was wrong. The prophecy was wrong.
Oh ya, dosanya udah diampuni semua sama orang villain. Bukannya lepas. Ya itu benar-benar jadi arcos ya harusnya ya.
We're saved. The prophecy was wrong.
Ramalannya salah.
The soil renewed. The Sweena Rasula tax post old soil skyship winglet. The various disputes that have arisen. People always call the first. Wow! Paimon barely recognizes the people in the report.
What do you think? Pretty enthralling, huh? The value for these big scoops. Edwin's assistant, Jurier, created a...
Paimon's curious too.
And that's exactly what...
Are you...
Oh, this time...
Udah dulu guys, lagi aku mau pergi dulu. Kita mau ada acara dulu. Jadi kita live lagi nanti malaman ya. See you semuanya. See you next stream. See you next mission. Bye bye. Tapi semua acara vape dulu ya. See you semuanya. Bye bye. Dadah. Nah ini udah dapat surat dari ulangnya.